3 of the VPL Preseason Invitational continues with 3 great North American matchups. We're coming to you live in Las Vegas next.
What does it take to mold a champion? Shape your destiny. Hone your craft. In mobile esports, it doesn't get any bigger than this. This is Vainglory, where you master powerful heroes, destroy the enemy Vain Crystal, and claim glory. 5-person teams are forged from across the globe. The best in the world begin their journey now. This season, elite teams attempt to survive a gauntlet of fierce competition from an onslaught of mobile superstars. They'll take their shots until a champion is crowned in their region. Today is where the molding begins, the preseason, where teams have the chance to establish their rhythm as a new 5-player team, try out strategies, and gel as a group in preparation for a historic run to the championship. The VPL Preseason Invitational begins now.
We've got 3 great matchups coming for you today with Tribe versus Tilt Rehab, TSM taking on Slimy Salamanders, and rounding out the day with Vision Gaming going one-on-one against Rogue.
Boom! How's it going, everyone? Happy Sunday. I hope you all are doing well on this wonderful afternoon. Joined by my friend, Tasty Bacon. Tasty, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Incredibly excited to get these games underway. We had some fantastic matches over in Europe earlier in the day. Make sure you check those out if you missed them. But make sure you also stay tuned here because there's going to be some phenomenal pairings here in North America.
Absolutely great matchups coming up. Taking a look at the standings first, though, TSM is sitting at the top, trailed closely by Tribe. TSM has played an extra game. Slimy Salamanders sitting in the next 3rd and 4th positions at 3-1 and 2-2 respectively. Nova is also tied with Rogue at 2-2, and then Vision, Tilt, and Hammers rounding out the bottom of the standings.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be an exciting shape up to the preseason as we're reaching the halfway point. But now, Tribe, last week, they looked incredible. We're going to be kicking things off with them here today. So kind of looking back to their performances leading up to this matchup, they've just looked so incredibly strong.
Absolutely. They have polished their macro play very well. We've definitely seen an evolution of their gameplay from week 1 now to week 3. It definitely seems like that swap between Gay Vizzle and Max Green, putting Max in the top lane, Gay Vizzle back into the captain position, has worked out very well for them.
Yeah, there's a couple of different role swaps that have happened around the league, but Tribe definitely feeling the success that came from making that decision, and they're going to look to continue that success coming in against Tilt Rehab.
Absolutely. They have one of the considered easier matchups, but it's a huge opportunity for Tilt Rehab. They need to get back on track. They need to figure out what their standings are, try and find more cohesion amongst their team if they want to be able to compete against a top team like Tribe.
Yeah, and it's one of the things about these top teams is, you know, are we going to get to see them playing Malene, as she has been available for play for the professional players this weekend. But if you want to get your hands on Malene for free, you can tweet at us using hashtag VPL and hashtag Lightform or hashtag Shadowform. We'll announce a winner at the end of the stream. We have 1 left to give away for this weekend, so make sure you get active on Twitter. If you don't want to wait, you can head on into the store, purchase Malene now, and maybe you can start making some plays just like Starting All Over. Starting
All Over looked so dominant yesterday on Malene. I'm sure Slimy Salamanders wish they could have one back. I would be absolutely shocked to see if they let Malene go through against TSM. We'll find out that in a little bit, but Starting All Over, making the best use, pushing the skill ceiling of Malene to her absolute pinnacle. Those 5 abilities, constantly using that invulnerability, the speed boost, the barrier, to great effect. His stats absolutely showed a 6.5 KTA, phenomenal, 120 CS, 14k gold, and the first blood definitely helped get the ball rolling for him and make great use out of Malene.
Yeah, and you know, all 3 of those stats were the best in the game for those stats. Starting all over, best Maleen world. He's at least the best Maleen that we have seen in professional competitive play. I wonder when we'll get to see someone challenge for that title, though.
Yeah, he was absolutely phenomenal. Will we see Maleen go through in the draft against Tribe until Rehab? Maybe one of those teams are feeling bold as Slimy Salamanders did yesterday. What do you think is going to happen?
If we do see Maleen go through again, it's almost certainly going to be an A-side team getting to pick her up. Maybe we see one of these top teams let it through just because, again, it's preseason. This is your chance to practice to kind of get the, things running smoothly for yourselves. We could see these top teams let Maleen through just to get practice playing against her even more so. But we'll find out if that's going to be the case as we get into our first draft of the day here in North America. Tribe, a little bit of a shakeup, but still going to be taking Maleen off the board. Very surprised to see it be an A-side ban, though.
Very quickly, just absolutely saying, nope, we don't want to deal with Maleen today. Gonna pick up the Kestrel first with Celeste off the board. Kestrel definitely one of those heroes, if she goes the Crystal Power route, can have a lot of range to be able to poke away from this backline. Very strong at these early stages of the game. With so many of these changes in Update 3.2, really suit her very well.
And this Crystal Kestrel is something that we're actually going to be talking about a little bit later on today. It's going to be a little bit of a theme because we've been seeing a lot of her here in North America. Tilt Rehab, they're going to go ahead and get themselves the Lyra and the Tony. Typically, when we've seen these two paired together, it's been the Captain Lyra with Tony being the weapon power carry.
Absolutely. I definitely expect to see that here again today. Tilt Rehab, though, does like to go things a little bit off meta, mix them up, try some of these different strategies. I don't know if Tilt Rehab was necessary. I don't know if Tilt Rehab was necessarily expecting that, so a little bit of a shakeup for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And going for the Idris to pair with the Kestrel, again, flexibility is the key for these drafts. Is you can go Crystal Kestrel, you can go Weapon, you can do the same with the Idris. We've seen a lot of Crystal Kestrels, we've seen a lot of Crystal Idris, so either one of those going away from that would be a break from the norm. We also see Kroll getting banned in the second rotation, whereas over in Europe, we've gotten accustomed to see that as the first ban in most games.
Yeah, Kroll definitely being a huge priority in the European meta. Definitely no surprises there. Tilt Rehab, though, wanting to make sure that they take more ranged off the table. Tribe, the triple utility heroes coming out of that. I actually think that Tribe suits Tribe very well, with Gabe Vizsla being so proficient on these captain style heroes. Same thing with Max Green up in the top lane. Those are heroes that he knows inside and out and suits Tribe's playstyle very well.
So they round this composition out with what, Adagio Arden at this point?
Yeah,
go for
basically
the 5 captain heroes to round things out, but I would expect them to have some sort of hyper carry in this. Oftentimes when you go for these multiple support utility type heroes, it's because you're building a protect the carry composition. So Tilt Rehab, they should actually know this. They should be able to identify that that's what they're going for and try and build a composition that is based around getting past that front line and taking out that priority target before all of that defense can come through. They're going to grab the Arden away, make sure that, just in case they wanted that full-on support team, that it will not be available.
Yeah, the Arden, great pickup for the side of Tilt Rehab. Definitely going to be able to protect those carries, whether it's a Gray going in with her A, the Tony going in with his punch. That's going to definitely help keep his carries very safe. Scarf being picked up by Tribe does synergize very well with the Lyra. And whenever Tilt does decide to try and engage, there is so much protection now for that Scarf that he is going to be able to sustain very long through these team fights.
The Scarf is also the hyper carry in this protect the carry composition, so we'll see what they decide to round things out with. They're not going to be able to grab themselves a Gwen if that's what they were thinking. I don't necessarily think that's where they would have gone if they had the option, although Dienzio has been playing the Gwen and has been phenomenal with it. It's still a situation where I feel like they're just going for full-on hyper carry, protecting Scarf composition. So we'll have to wait and see what they decide to round up the composition with. Tilt Rehab, though, they got to figure out where they want to go with their final pick. They don't have really a bruiser with the exception of Arden, so maybe they go for something like the Rona, who's still available.
I'd really like to see for them go for something that's a little more aggressive here in the early game. I don't know that Tribe necessarily has the strongest early games. I think that Scarf is one of the weakest carries in Mage for the mid lane. Glaive is great for that. If Tribe gets caught out of position, Glaive can be very punishing.
Yeah, and absolutely. One of those heroes, again, that can get past that front line, can dive deep onto the hero, knock Scarf out of position, and allow the rest of the team to take advantage of their massive damage potential. So Tribe gonna have to figure out where they want to do. Again, I'm expecting something else defensive. Adagio is definitely someone that can help keep a hero alive while still improving the damage of the rest of the team. So 4 effectively, potential captain heroes on the side of Tribe. Now it's up to Tilt Rehab to try and figure out who's going to be playing what.
They need to make sure that they are on point with their execution here in the early game. I actually think Tilt Rehab has the better composition in the early game. Even though Tribe has a lot of sustain, the damage just isn't there. With the Kestrel on Tilt Rehab, if she is able to put out really good, effective AoE crystal damage from the backline, that can really be punishing of Tribe.
Yeah, Tilt Rehab, they're going to have to focus on getting onto the carries. One of the key factors in getting onto the carries is going to be my player to watch, and that is Ali Peterson, the captain of Tilt Rehab. His positioning and decision making in the games that Tilt Rehab has looked strong has definitely made him a baller shot caller as he's looking to make various plays. Being the one that initiates these team fights for Tilt Rehab, oftentimes the difference between them winning or losing a fight has just been, if the rest of the team follows up. We saw in that previous one, there was an instance where he went in, rest of the team didn't follow. But here you're going to see this decision being made. They had one member isolated, immediate Lyra portals over onto that Skye. They eliminated Skye right off the bat. That was against TSM. It was a great play by Ali Peterson, great heads-up call that the team followed up on. That's going to be key.
Perhaps even better at shot calling, and definitely a very versatile player. Gabe Vizel has been putting in a massive amount of work for the amount of Tribe. Prior to the preseason starting, he said he was going to be playing in that top lane. That is no longer the case. He has switched roles with Max Green. Max Green now pretty consistently playing in that top lane, but that is Gabe just showing his versatility. Max Green as well, but when he is on his game in this captain role, he is putting in a ton of work for the side of Tribe and has looked really good after making that swap.
Yeah, absolutely. The Tilt Rehab definitely will have their hands full if they want to try and get themselves a victory. But we'll be finding out if they will be able to be successful as we head on to Sovereign's Rise for our first game in North America.
Well, thank you very much, Tasty Bacon and Flash X, breaking it down for us, guys. We've got Tilt Rehab up against Tribe here. I'm Denominate, joined by Humanist. How you feeling, bud?
I'm feeling pretty fantastic there. As we get into this game, obviously we've got Tilt Rehab on the board versus Tribe. Tribe looking like one of the strongest teams here in the VPL, and I think this is going to be another game to show them doing so. They have a very strong composition put together. Gabe Bizzle's going to be on the Adagio and Joseph on the Tony, which we typically see the Captain Tony come out of Tribe. We see some early minion candy here in the mid lane, and that's going to help Tribe make a good rotation over to this Crystal Treant.
Yeah, nice little rotation over. Use of a couple changes here in this update, right? Minion Candies is getting a little bit buffed. Also, Weapon Tony maybe a little bit more impactful, and maybe that's why they're going for that pick.
Yeah, they definitely may be going for that pick. It does look like he's starting with the Storm Guard for some jungle clear. Obviously, I love Joseph the jungler for Tribe. May help out, may even go into some cooldown, just looking for the stun spam and possibly to have that ultimate up a little bit more frequently. So we'll have to see which build path he does go out. Meanwhile,
Maokai getting torn up there. Healing Flask at the last second. But that's the power of the Scarf. Just one Spitfire, just keep the attacks on it, and if you're in range to get hit, that's going to light you up.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And speaking of Scarf, we have the changes to his ultimate and to his goop. The goop now a little bit more burst damage on the ignite and a little bit less damage over time. Maokai on this glaive has gone with the Storm Guard first as well, so no healing coming out of these lane minion kills from him.
That's going to be a little bit of a bummer here early on, but it's a quiet early game. When will we expect to see some aggression here? I know things have gotten shaken up. We've seen different rotations across the map, but this is kind of, it feels just farming.
Well, Joseph will be looking to make some pretty aggressive early ganks. Even without weapon power, Tony does quite a massive amount of damage with his Jawbreaker, and then you tack that heavy stun onto the end of it, and it can really set up some really good ganks. Old School is playing in the mid lane here with the Lyra. Not the fastest clear, but has a lot of sustain and can really help the jungler in getting those final hits. That speed boost from popping that Imperial Sigil can help get them into place to make the kills.
I think Lyra carries like one of the more interesting carries in the game. Definitely not something that everybody can make effective. But I don't know, like, how would you just... Ooh, that's going to be the first kill down in bottom. A nice first blood going to Tilt Rehab. I actually had just switched the camera down there, and he took all of that damage in a huge burst.
Yeah, he absolutely did, and you're right. The carry Lyra can be difficult to play. Specifically, when she first came out, she was very lane heavy. Due to that, you know, to fulfill her role of being more of a support, her armor and shield was nerfed quite a bit. So Old School, while he can dish out a lot of damage, he also will take a lot in return from the side of Tilt Rehab.
I think that, you know, for me, I'm looking at this, and you're seeing the Lyra and the Scarf. That's two carries that are some of the most vulnerable in the game.
Yeah, they definitely can be, and the key target we're going to be looking out for is Sino here on this Kestrel. Those Glimmer Shots will rip apart Scarf or Lyra if they get a little bit too nosy and get too much in that front line.
Don't get too nosy. Pinocchio, Max Green in a 1v3, trying to defend down here, but Tilt Rehab kind of stacking up a little bit of damage down to the spot T1 turret. Looks like it's going to be okay. Gabe Vizzle thinking about making the rotation down, but as Tilt Rehab dispersed, Gabe makes that soft rotate right back into mid.
Yeah, absolutely. And one benefit that Tilt Rehab is going to have here is most of their carry damage is ranged. Glaive and Arden are going to be the two front line. They have a high health pool, and they have a lot of ability to soak up some of the damage that comes out of that Scarf. Meanwhile, Sino, Archaic, and Esme, they'll be able to stand back a little bit. The Idris and the Vox will be able to build up their stacks a little bit should Idris go down the Dragon's Eye route. But Vox, definitely that breaking point in the later stages of the game. He can really start to take over a fight by himself as long as his team is creating him a big enough distraction.
It definitely can. I think, yeah, it's going to come down to what can Tony do to kind of disrupt that Vox as he starts to get rolling. Max Green will actually be a pretty easy to target. That's one of my favorite as a weapon Vox to just stack up on. Gabe Vizzle taking a lot of damage. He'll pop the flask, get under the turret. Max Green low as well. Tribe kind of on the back foot here.
Yeah, they definitely are a little bit. I do think Tilt Rehab has a little bit of an early advantage with Archaic having the crystal power to get his heroic perk online. He will have a distinct range advantage over the Grace, and Grace doesn't really have a lot of ways to escape. So that's going to be a bottom turret now going over to Tilt Rehab, taking down that objective in just 5.5 minutes.
Yeah, good chance that the top's going to go down as well. In fact, Joseph, he's locked on to Maokai. Maokai, you're in a bad place here. Bada boom on in, just a gap closer. Joseph will go ahead and punch him in the face there, get that kill. Now it's got Tribe on the board, and they should be taking this turret rather quickly.
Yeah, they definitely should. Scarf here, definitely one of the best heroes for taking objectives. I love Joseph with that Storm Crown finish as well. They're going to trade that turret out 1-for-1, top for bottom. And now it does look like we might have potential contests here down in the bot. Max Green getting ready for this Treant to pop.
Max hanging out. I mean, he's trying to get some vision down. It's cleared out. Tilt Rehab have actually very clean movements here. Little Vanguard slingshot at Sino right into position. It's 4 from Tribe, kind of collapse right into the middle here. I guess Ghostwing spawning kind of a signal for Tribe that they're going to go ahead and clump up a bit.
Yeah, we see vision from Tilt Rehab down on both the Crystal Treant of Tribe as well as on that Ghostwing, and it's
big
such
fight
a key
here.
vision
Dragon Express going to come out. Zeo from range, but he's just going to go ahead and burn the grass down. Zeo, maybe not what he was looking for. They look to go ahead and retreat here, getting into a better position. Gabe doing his best to heal up his team. That was kind of a sloppy little skirmish there, and surprising that nobody went down. Just kind of a bold fight over that Crystal Treant. Now it's going to be a little bit more action continuing as Tilt Rehab just pound down on this T1 mid turret. They'll take it down for their trouble. And Zeo just rotating out as he's like, team, dude, I can't stall out. I got to keep farming.
Yeah, and that puts Tilt Rehab up 1 objective. They've started up the Ghostwing, and I think one of the key players to watch for this game is going to be Dienzio on the Scarf. Historically, Scarf has been one of his best heroes and has kept him at the top when he needed it, even when that pick was off meta. Now, Scarf with some changes, he's a little bit more of a threat in team fights, so I'm excited to see what he can do with that. He's just got to be cautious. Archaic has gone with that Dragon's Eye, so over the course of the battle, Esme is going to start to deal out more and more damage with basic attacks and those chakrams.
Esme putting a little damage down, but only has the poison ship, not quite the breaking point. When we see the breaking point come out on the Vox, that's going to be the go signal for him. If he's able to get a couple of attacks down, build up some breaking point stacks before he takes any damage, it's almost always a great fight for the Vox. Archaic and Ali Peterson walking into that brush, but there is vision down from Tribe. In fact, it's going to be the very aggressive port forward. A little bit of damage coming out. They're able to find the stun onto Max. Another Dragon's Breath comes out. He drops the gauntlet, but is it enough to save his Vox? No, the Idris able to squeeze out the back here. Tribe not wanting to funnel into that choke point, respecting the active camo coming out here. Very patient call for them to kind of regroup back up, buy a couple items, and then get back into a better position here.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and I want to take note at Sino having gone with the Dragon, or the Spellfire first. Looking over at the side of Tribe, they have 3 healers on their team. Gabe Bizzle on the Adagio is going to provide a lot of team healing. Old School can provide a little bit going the Crystal route. It's not going to be quite what a Captain can do. And Max Green on the Grace. That is a lot of healing potential coming out of these members. So I'd actually like to see Archaic probably pick up a Spellfire later on in the game, just to help kind of cut down on what Tribe can do to maintain themselves.
Double the Spellfire, double the fun?
Yeah, we'll have the Poison Shift coming out of Esme too, which is really key here for the Lyra early game. But Max Green's coming over to this turret.
Max, go ahead and jump on in. Esme looking to avoid some damage, but Zio's made the rotation as well. A Holy Nova, but the Vanguard, the Flask will allow him to go ahead and reposition. Gabe Bizzle, he's got the Verse coming on through, but it's not going to connect with a stun. Until Rehab taking a lot, absorbing more damage than I thought was capable. Now, the Enzio, another Dragon's Breath coming on through. It almost feels like Zio's just kind of like experimenting with these Dragon's Breath now. That's going to be the kill from School onto the Vox. It looks like they should be able to get 2 more. So they're going to lose the Arden and Idris as well. Tribe taking a lot of damage, but spreading it out on all members. Nobody going down. Really clean plays there.
Yeah, absolutely. And for a lot of this early game, it did look like the side of Tilt Rehab had the lead. After that fight and this Ghost Wing getting captured up by Tribe, that can change very quickly. Maokai is trying to push this turret.
Dude, Maokai is pushing the turret, Noms. Give him credit. Look at that. Look at that. He's destroying that thing.
Yeah, absolutely. What was really cool kind of synergy I saw in that last fight with Tribe is the Bada Boom came out of I Love Joseph, and it looked like it was possibly helping, I believe, Esme escape from that fight, but it was right over into the hands of Old School. One shot, one kill is going to come through and just tickle Gabe Bizzle a little bit.
The tickle monster on the rise, huh?
Yeah, a little bit. Adagio here on the captain position. He is going to be quite tanky. We see he's already invested in quite a bit of health going for that Crucible for his second item. There it is right there.
Up in top. Oh, it's going to be okay.
Okay, pretty low on health here. He doesn't have a lot of damage for Glaive. You know, typically Glaive has a pretty sustainable amount of damage, as well as being able to tank quite a bit himself, but
another just immediate Dragon's Breath coming on through. Maokai taken down. Zio's going to take a lot of damage. In fact, he drops incredibly low. But they'll take the turret. They'll be able to get back here as Tilt Rehab trying to shove down mid. In fact, that's going to be taken down to at least 50% before Tribe are able to respond to this. Looks like Joseph and Gabe Bizzle stay in top lane, but the fight will continue into mid. The port forward, School trying to get the damage down. In fact, he is going to be able to take down Sino there. Now looking potentially for Archaic. They don't really have great chase. They have some movement speed enhancing abilities, a little bit of gap close, but not a whole lot of lockdown.
No, not at all. And looking over at the builds, Old School has gone Shatterglass first. A lot of burst damage coming out of the Imperial Sigil. There is no alternating current yet, though. He's gone with the Spellfire. And if you think about Lyra's kit, the Imperial Sigil and the Bright Bulwark, both AoE abilities that deal crystal damage, he can spread team-wide
another
Mortal Wound
Dragon's Breath. But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Just, I think Tribe have quite an advantage here in their comp moving into the late game. Obviously, we have no Celeste on the board, so D'Enzio is going to be kind of that hyper carry mage. Old School's picked up quite a few kills himself with that Imperial Sigil. It's a lot of burst damage with the Shatterglass, and then adds a little bit of damage over time with that Spellfire as well. And then we talked about the Mortal Wound, so interesting build out of Old School, not going for the typical alternating current Lyra that we normally see.
I just think it's really interesting what Zio's got going on here, man. Like, let's talk about this a little bit. Like, almost every fight, and this was a change. Like, the Dragon's Breath got buffed up a little bit. Ignite damage got, initial Ignite got buffed, but then the damage over time, I think it got nerfed just a little bit, but he's been throwing Dragon's Breath almost every fight, the beginning of the fight, and it's been working incredibly well.
Yeah, it's a lot of base damage increase, but we got a fight breaking out here.
Got another fight breaking out now. The Gauntlet zoning one way first, zoning out the backside. Tribe, a lot of AoE damage coming on out. Max jumps in, stunned up, taking a lot of damage, but the damage is piling up much harder on the side of Tilt Rehab as they retreat back, trying to get under the safety of the turret. One shot will come out the other way, connecting on to Joseph. Joseph really not too worried about that. Pretty tanky still at this point, so 2 from Tilt Rehab going down. Tribe not going to lose anybody once again, dropping low, but they're doing just fine, and they'll move over for another Ghost Swing.
Yeah, they're looking for that objective, and they should be able to get it. Meanwhile, that top turret is getting pushed pretty heavily by minions. It's obviously not going to fall now, but we do have the captain minion up there, and that damage will add up. Ghost Wing going over to Tribe, so they maintain the dragon objective control here, and will have the chance now to use that 25% damage buff they've just picked up to rotate around and pick up other objectives as they need. Now we are 12, 13, 14 minutes in, and Black Claw is on the map again, spawning now at 12 minutes instead of 15, and Tribe, they're going to go ahead and take that one and maybe look for one solid push to win this game with the Ghost Wing buff and Black Claw.
Yeah, just one good fight coming out here. Could go the other way. Now, once again, Dragon's Breath starts this off, slowing opponents down, boosting his team right into the fight here. Tilt Rehab, you're going to have to put something amazing together. Max Green drops low, but he's got the self-defined intervention. Maokai trying to stand his ground, but getting melted down. Ali Peterson, a tanky Arden, but not tanky enough for his team to be the front line. I guess he actually, another self-Vanguard will stay alive here. Zeal going down for Tribe is going to slow down what they can accomplish here, and that's almost the like, pinnacle just of what they're trying to achieve in this fight. Tilt Rehab actually taking a pretty important kill.
Yeah, they did. It was a trade by Esme on the back line, and they were able to pick that one up. Again, as you mentioned, Scarf, would have been able to rip these turrets and armories apart with the boosted damage, but since they were able to get that kill, Tilt Rehab should survive to pick another fight. They will lose out on that central turret, but their armory stands strong, so they won't have those buff minions that they have to worry about constantly. So that's a little bit of a saving grace for them here. I like what Tribe have done, though. They've really gone with a protect the carry kind of comp. Typically, when we see the Tony, he goes down the weapon power route and really tries to abuse that early game, but falls off in the later stages. Instead, Joseph has gone with a Stormcrown Shiver Steel build and just a lot of tankiness, just looking to protect his backline mages in Old School and Dienzio. So losing out on either one of them does lose out on a lot of what Tribe's potential is.
All right, well, we'll see if Tilt Rehab look to continue fighting in the same way they have been. Maokai, a lot of cooldown, a lot of pick potential. If they can find a key target, take them down, regroup, get back into it, they have potential to potentially win a fight. What do you think, Noms? That's English right there.
They definitely still can win a fight. They're not horribly behind. The gold discrepancy right now is only about 2,500 gold, so not major. The problem is that it's constantly Sino and Archaic getting forced out of the fight early on. Max Green, he's a little bit extended from the team right now. That would have been a good time for the side of Tilt Rehab if they recognized that to get a pick, but I think there was a little bit of fear that the rest of the team may have been behind him, as they don't have a ton of vision. They have one in here in the bush by the river on their side. But for the most part, Tribe has really controlled the vision game, and that's given them a lot of freedom in where they can roam on the map.
Look at the timing is really sweet. Like, literally, they drop the scout cam as Ghostwing flies down onto the rise here. Now, they're going to go ahead and look to zone Tilt Rehab back. Tilt Rehab taking a lot of damage. They haven't applied any damage themselves, so if they get into this fight, it feels like it would be really bad for them. And these choke points are so good for Dienzio, so good for pretty much the entire team, really, because they funnel into that. You're taking AoE damage. You're able to get locked down. Joseph on the backside. He can control up. He's going to grab Ali, pull him in a little bit here, but that's not the target they're looking for. Be silenced up as the gauntlet comes down. Tilt Rehab looking to fight inside the gauntlet here. Vox getting some breaking point stacks. Esme on the backside trying to take down, but Joseph's not the target that he wants to go for. They've lost their glaive. They've lost their Arden. Looks like it's going to be Vox going down next. Tribe, will they lose anybody in this fight? This is just an absolute stomp of a fight for Tribe once again. They won't lose anybody. Look at them juggle that damage there.
Yeah, and that Imperial Sigil coming out of Old School, sniping out the last hit onto Sino there is going to result in 4 kills going over to the side of Tribe, and they are now just pushing into this armory. They have a little bit of time. Maokai is down for 5 seconds, but again, not a ton of damage on that glaive, so they don't have a huge threat. They're sticking around, going to try to pick up another armory, and because of that double captain minion wave, they can go ahead and safely back out knowing they have that secured, and Tribe have now taken a massive advantage in positioning here. Now the top wave and the middle wave for those lanes, those minions are buffed for Tribe. That is something that Tilt Rehab must now always be concerned with, because if they stay out of their base too long, those minions are going to continuously push into the Vein Crystal.
Maybe if a fight breaks out here, we'll go ahead and get off of this, but let's see. I want to just, maybe you could talk about, if we do want to engage, the overall net worth really not too far apart, but we're seeing like 15-2. We're seeing the base torn apart here. Like, what is that? What's going on here with that?
Well, the side of Tilt Rehab, they've had really good rotations and have been sharing their ambient gold effectively, and that's really kept them in the gold game. However, Tribe, they've had better positioning in the fights, and I think their composition is just a little bit better. Obviously, we had some nerfs onto the Idris and the Kestrel in this patch, so that is something to be concerned about as well.
A lot of concerns, and I'm concerned for Tilt Rehab that this game is going to be over rather quickly here, as Ghostwing captured up one more time for Tribe, and with that, Zio and School making the quick rotate right up into the Black Claw pit, and this should be another take for them, barring a I mean, Tilt Rehab have to steal this or just have a miracle fight, right?
Yeah, it's definitely looking to be that way. Maokai, he's going into an aftershock, it looks like, but we've got this fight breaking out.
Target. School stunned up, but he's able to arcane passage out. Now he fights from range. Zio right forward with the Dragon's Breath. The Verse Judgment will come out. Huge stun to control Tilt Rehab as Tribe begin to pick them apart. Esme staying alive, getting some good breaking point stacks built up here, but he just can't collapse onto a target. They just can't finish anybody. They can't finish a target.
Now, and they have minions pushed in onto the Vein Crystal, starting to chip away at that now, and another wave is incoming. Here comes the teleport boots from Max Green.
Max Green. Let's see. Let's just see how this plays out here. A little arcane passage. What? I'm over here. What? I'm over here. What? There goes your Vein Crystal. GG. Tribe able to take down Tilt Rehab, and it felt more like Tilt School to me.
Yeah, it definitely did. Great purchase from the side of Tribe. Everybody picking up their teleport boots there at the end. Noticing they had that double wave, that double minion wave on the Vein Crystal, and they were able to teleport in and get that victory while 3 members of Rehab were in the grave.
3 members in the grave, indeed. I was super impressed how Tribe accomplished a lot of stuff. For me, the most impressive thing was how they're able to juggle all that damage. Maybe our analysts can break that down for us a little bit, but we'll go ahead and throw it back over to the desk.
Thank you very much, guys. And yeah, Tribe continuing their winning ways. Tilt Rehab continuing to show promise, but not quite being able to get over the hump. I feel like almost every game for them, they've at least been competitive in the game, but they have not been able to actually get the victory yet. It's got to be very tough for them, but you don't want to take away anything from Tribe. They played a very good game.
Yeah, they look super clean in their gameplay. Seriously, though, Tilt Rehab has looked good. They had a gold lead for the vast majority of that game. 14 minutes, they do start to get down to this point. After Tribe is able to take that Black Claw, they just completely turn it up a notch, go straight into Tilt Rehab, start shredding them apart. This is really what opened the game wide open. They're able to pick up some turrets right here. Tribe actually still kiting very well in this team fight. Ali Peterson and Archaic barely getting away with their lives. Mortal wounds from Spellfire not doing quite enough damage. Here's some screenshot we got from the game.
Yeah, right after the draft, a couple of community members chiming in. I gotta say, shout-outs to Teddy Gear, though. A little bit of a prophet saying, here's a spoiler, Tribe won the match in 20 minutes. 20 minutes and 16 seconds. That's pretty darn close. Excellent job on that, guess. And then, of course, Max gonna be nasty on the Grace top lane. TSM Daniel chiming in, saying that Tilt Rehab lost the draft as bad as you can lose Tribe to come away with the victory.
For sure. Tribe, just a lot more time to build that synergy. These guys have been playing Vainglory since day one. Obviously, the world champions last year. It is no surprise that they're doing as well as they are this early on into the preseason. Definitely, I think Tribe, and Till Rehab for that matter, actually setting themselves up to do better in the future. They just need to keep working on that team play, and it should be beneficial in the long run.
Yeah, we'll see what they can do going forward through the rest of preseason. If you want to get a little bit of an extra behind-the-scenes information, make sure you check out the brand new VPL Vainglory Esports Instagram account. Excuse me. Follow us at Vainglory Esport on Instagram. A lot of sneak peeks, behind the scenes, extra content, and especially being able to get some previews of our brand new studio.
Vainglory Competitive Gaming has a new home in Las Vegas, the Aria Resort and Casino. The PokerGo studio in partnership with ESP Gaming, the name behind the Vainglory Premier League. A state-of-the-art, multi-million-dollar showplace, streaming lounge, and the most advanced tech to bring you mobile esports like never before. Welcome to the new home for the Vainglory Premier League.
As we get ready for our next game, this one may be a short one if all things are to be considered, although it could also go very long. We have a very heavy contrast of styles coming up.
Yeah, we got this quick game from North America team TSM versus the long game in North America out of Slimy Salamanders. Taking a look at TSM right here, they have been on point with their early game execution, making sure that they're playing very concise, very clean, always on the same page, diving under turrets when they know they can get kills. In these later game team fights, this is their longest game of the season, week one. They've definitely polished it up. As time has progressed, their games have gotten shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter. I don't know if that's necessarily going to happen against Slimy Salamanders here today, who have been on the polar opposite end of things. All of their games going longer than 20 minutes.
Yeah, that 11:46, the second fastest game we've had in the entire preseason. I'm curious to see if anyone will beat that. If we might get below that 11-minute mark, it would be incredible to see. But as you mentioned, Slimy Salamanders, their games have been going very long, but they've been finding victories, and that has been key for them. And, you know, some of it is because of the hero selections that we've been seeing in North America. Take a look at some of the picks that North America is playing exclusively. These are heroes that have been picked in North America, but have not been picked at all in Europe. Glaive being the #1 and most common, followed by the Gwen and then the Kashka. And of course, Malene, Jewel, and Lance eat with 1 pick each, all with 1 win as well. So who knows, maybe we'll see more of those. And of course, this was coming into this week, as we did get to see a Glaive over in Europe earlier today. But coming into this week, these were, again, North America's exclusive picks. We'll see if they continue that trend, if they keep going for some more of these, or if they add even more to that pool.
It's always interesting to see how the metas vary from region to region. All those picks, though, above a 50% win rate, so they're definitely, these teams understand when to bring these picks out and how to use them to great effect.
Yeah, and again, the Glaive, I think, is well, it was really the most surprising to me that hasn't been picked over in Europe. And of course, the Gwen, we've been seeing plenty of bans targeted at Gwen, and especially late in the draft, the team's not wanting to let that be the final pick, rounding out compositions. But we'll see what's going to be the compositions coming up as we get into the draft for TSM versus Slimy Salamanders.
Daniel feeling very confident about his knowledge and understanding of draft, and throwing some shade there.
Yeah, TSM better win this draft after making comments like that one. But obviously, the Lyra going to be the first ban there. Again, expecting a Malene ban, but this is the team that let it through yesterday. We'll have to see if they decide to do the same thing here again.
They might want to let it through. They do indeed. Honestly, I think it's about they want to make a statement. They supposedly think they knew what they were doing yesterday. TSM, thank God they picked the Melina. We would have had some words if they wouldn't have grabbed the Maline.
So
but yeah.
who plays the Maline for TSM? Does it go to Chuck?
Yeah, absolutely. Chuck in the mid lane. Maline, super strong mid laner, those 5 abilities. Something Chuck is very good at. He's actually spent a lot of time practicing her. Right now it's so hard for players to get their hands on her because she's banned in ranked 5v5. Chuck has had to gone into casual 5v5, 3v3, even playing some Blitz just to work on those Maline mechanics. I know that they've been doing a bunch of 1v1s internally as well. Hopefully they will show in this game here today.
Now the question I have is, obviously Maline is known to be a mid laner. Is there any argument to be made for putting her in the top lane, so where you're up against something who's going to be like a bruiser, who's going to be in melee? So she excels against melee heroes. So if you put her up against something like a Rona, I think she could do actually very well in that role.
She can do very well in other roles. I know exactly which roles TSM might opt to go for. I don't know if we'll necessarily see it out of today. We do see the Samuel, so potentially mixing up those lanes. But yeah, we'll just kind of have to see how that plays out. Slimy Salamanders with the Tony and the Idris, those are actually a great combination. Once you taunt someone on the enemy team, it just throws out that chakram. They're in a straight line, gets hit twice. Most of the time, definitely great hero synergies there. I like that a lot out of Slimy Salamanders.
And this Samuel being grabbed by TSM, again, leaves open that potential idea for moving a Maline around, because we've seen Samuel in mid lane a lot, but we've also seen the Samuel get flexed into different positions. So I think the rest of the draft will definitely be telling for TSM to see where they decide to go with this composition. But right now they have a lot of crystal power AoE damage.
Yeah, they do. TSM still needing to find a strong captain. Churnwalker, Tony, Lyra, all taken off the board in one fashion or another. I definitely expect them to go for something like an Arden. Yeah, there's going to be the Arden pickup right there. I like that a lot. Slimy Salamanders definitely playing the range game with the Scarf. Daniel, once again, getting his hands on the Rona.
And I mean, there was a targeted ban for Slimy Salamanders on that Kestrel, taking that out of Kaz's hands. But again, I'm still just continue to be surprised that no one is trying to target out Daniel's hero pool, because he has only ever played 2 heroes from community tournaments before the preseason all the way through the preseason thus far. He has only played Rona and Blackfeather. Someone needs to challenge this hero pool at some point. Again, even if he has a deeper hero pool than he's shown, make him show it. Make him get off of these comfort picks.
Yeah, absolutely. When you spend this much time playing 2 heroes, even if you're capable of playing other heroes, you just don't have the same level of experience that you might. And especially when you're sitting on a stage that's competitive like this, you need to make sure that you're just as comfortable, and you can't get banned out that easily, especially with how popular Rona is in the meta right now. In both NA and EU, we've seen her banned and picked quite a bit. I'm very surprised to see them, Slimy Salamanders, just completely ignore that and give that over to TSM for free.
And again, like, it's not a knock against Daniel at all, the fact that he's only played these 2. Like, if teams are going to let you play them, go ahead and play them. But I'm saying the other teams need to try and take that away. There is the glaive coming through, that North American specialty here for Slimy Salamanders. We've seen some very strong glaive play coming out of other players, like Louis Vuitton Don especially comes to mind. Lorelei going to be the final pick for TSM. Now, is it a carry Lorelei or a carry Arden is what we'll have to wait and see.
I think I know
get some insight from someone who might have some knowledge on that.
I'm going to go ahead and say Hammy right now loves himself some Lorelei up in the top lane. He played it yesterday. It was super, super effective. I definitely expect to see that here again today. The question now is, though, where is the Maline and the Samuel going to end up? It's going to be Daniel in the bot lane on the Rona, but are they going to be in the mid lane, or is it going to be in the jungle?
That's what we'll have to wait and find out once we get on into the game. We saw the Adagio as the final pick, almost certainly going to be the captain Adagio coming out for Slimy Salamanders. But again, I'm just so excited to see if Slimy Salamanders will be able to force this into a longer game where they have excelled, or if TSM is going to be able to close this one out very early. And one of the key factors for TSM closing out these games early is Kaz. He's going to be my player to watch for this game. Mentioned Slimy Salamanders with the targeted ban. Very smart. They obviously did their homework, the same homework I did, to see that Kaz has been killing it with Kestrel. He played Taka in the very first game for TSM and has played crystal-powered Kestrel out of the jungle in every single game since then. So obviously Slimy Salamanders, knowing that that was going to, something that he's been running, banned it away from him. Now he's going to be playing potentially either the Samuel or the Maleen. We'll have to wait and see.
Kaz, only 13 years old, definitely a child prodigy. On the other side of things, Iraqi Zoro for Slimy Salamanders, their shot caller, their leader, Commandant, has looked very good at making sure his decision-making is decisive in their wins. They did falter a little bit against Tribe. They look to be a little bit shaky in terms of figuring things out, but when he is on his game, when he knows exactly what he wants to do, he has made sure that his team is operating on all cylinders, all on the same page, and has looked absolutely beautiful.
And we'll see if they can continue that trend again. Something's got to give. One of these two teams is going to drop this game. Will it be a long, drawn-out matchup, or will it be another very quick victory for TSM? And again, obviously, it could also be a very quick victory for Slimy Salamanders if they pull something out that we haven't seen before. We'll get to find out with Humanist and Denomine right now.
Oh my goodness, what an exciting matchup we have on our hands here. TSM up against the Slimy Salamanders. Denomine, a couple strong drafts, and the players are out onto the rise. How's this one gonna play out? You know what I'm saying? It's alright, I'm sure the Noms is just taking care of emergency business, but I'm sure he would say something like, well, you know, Human Dad, I'm feeling pretty good to be here with you today. Couple of fine teams. We'll see some early rotations here.
Yeah, Chuck gonna be on the Maleen, and I'm just excited to see another Maleen make it through. She's been pretty much constantly banned here in the VPL. It looks like Salamander's trying to get this Treant over here, and it looks like they'll be able to, but TSM, they were able to get the rotation. They were able to trade back that Treant, and are gonna clean out the rest of the Salamander's jungle as well. So pretty even as far as the jungle camps go, but it is TSM with a slight gold lead right now. Nothing substantial, but it is a start. Rekt is going to be playing that Tony in the captain position, which we were talking a little bit earlier with Tribe, and just how tanky he can be and how annoying and disruptive he can be to the enemy team.
I mean, one of the biggest things for me looking at this map out here is I just don't see status. And we got Tinker in the game. How does this switch things up for the Salamanders?
Well, unfortunately, it hurts the Salamanders quite a bit. In the games that we've seen, Status has typically been very ahead in the jungle, specifically on the Idris pick. We have seen him go absolutely crazy on the Idris. And then, you know, it feels like it's gonna hurt their synergy quite a bit. You know, Status has always been really good with the team, making those rotations up, making the ganks happen when possible. And, you know, I have to feel like Tinker is going to be filling in the bottom lane, it looks like, so it's putting someone else out of position, and that's pretty impactful to me. I think TSM have a pretty substantial upper hand right now.
Whew, man, well, let's see if it's going to play out the way. I mean, I've got to agree with you. Status has been playing pretty phenomenally, but I think it's a weird thing because, like, he was always one of the best, right? If not just considered the best at what he does. And then kind of falling out of the limelight a little bit, but he just steps right back into that role so incredibly easily.
Yeah, he definitely does, and it's going to be Xenotech picking up the glaive. We'll have to see what he's able to accomplish on that hero. Obviously,
trash talk into an afterburn. Cause he's in the drifting dark. Malice Verdict splashing onto Xenotech and Rekt. They're gonna have to tuck tail and run here. Rekt actually dropping incredibly low shaded talent. Vanguard's Hammy trying to slingshot him in. Chuck, he'll find the root. Chuck with the rotation. Maleen with the first blood. What a hero.
Yeah, brilliant rotation from Chuck there, landing the light ribbon, securing that root onto Mixi, puts one on the board for Team Solo mid. Mixi, however, he was able to rotate back off of his death, obviously, and get his 5 crystal bits, so he now has his ranged attacks, and he has picked himself up a pair of boots, so maybe able to get out of that situation next time. But, you know, again, that's one on the board for TSM, and it's about 1,000 gold lead already developed in their hands.
That's awesome. Looking good for Chuck. Looks like Chuck's going into that aftershock to start things off here. It's pretty awesome. I was trying that build out. I think it's really cool because you're just always using his abilities, switching between forms, using multiple abilities. You're always proccing that aftershock off constantly. Chuck, well, damage over the wall. We'll find the root as well. See if they can catch some damage on over Rekt, but he's just out of range. Cause really almost just kind of forcing the situation there with that drifting dark.
Yeah, absolutely. Mixi able to be a little bit more aggressive here in the top lane. Hammy is going to be picking up that Lorelei, so we'll have a little bit of damage on the crystal attacks as well. And you know, Mixi's really got to watch out for the fish food. That stun is so devastating to a mobile hero like Idris, where if he gets locked up and then, you know, you could possibly have Chuck follow up with the root all the time. Kaz able to just rein in the Malice and Verdicts with the empowerment of the Drifting Dark can definitely spell disaster for this Idris, who's again filling a mage style role, going to be going a very, very offensive and not a lot of defense.
It's actually like mildly godly amounts of lockdown for TSM if they're able to couple up what they have between the fish food, the gauntlets, just the Xenotech's gonna jump in up top. Xenotech taking some turret damage, dropping pretty low here. Wow, 3v1. Hammy almost finding himself a kill there.
Yeah, beautiful block there by Hammy as the afterburn from Glaive came in. He was able to safely block out that reposition, which may have been the leading cause in him surviving that engagement. Send Xenotech running a little bit, obviously taking a couple turret shots. Xeno almost dropped himself, so definitely got to be a little bit careful on these engagements.
Mixi put to sleep with the Oblivion. Cause trying to connect on the Mouse and Verdict. Xenotech will get the knock back there, but now he's in a vulnerable position himself. Wrecked. A little trash talk. Come on, Wreck. Show some respect for your opponents up here. TSM starting to descend upon the T1 turret up in the top lane here. All just kind of hammering, trying to apply the damage on the turret, not draw aggro. And I think it's going to be drawn just a little bit, but not before some damage connects on to Mixi. They've taken that turret down below 50% health and doing a great job up in this top lane because there's really nothing else they have to do on the map. Actually, looks like Daniel and Tinker in a battle for the each down bottom. Tinker, show your worth. Chuck snipes him out. Chuck, bad manners, one-shotting Tinker. Welcome to the VPL preseason, bud. Now Iraqi Zoro, does he have boots? He's got no boots. You're rooted up. You're chopped down. Maleen just terrorizing the bottom half of this map.
Yeah, Maleen does a substantial amount of burst damage going with the Aftershock first. Switching between your light and dark forms is an ability, so it does proc that Aftershock proc, as well as switching into the dark form empowers your next basic attack quite a substantial amount. You do get the slow on the light base, but when switching into dark, that's going to be where Chuck has the most spike damage potential.
It's really good. I mean, he can just walk in, just throw the attack. They're in range to get hit with light ribbons, the shadow tendrils. Very easy to follow up for him. And this looks like a great hero just in general for Chuck to be playing. And it's great to see him kind of excelling on this hero here early on.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm interested to see what item he goes into second. Obviously, the Aftershock, a lot of proc potential on the Maleen, a lot of low cooldowns that can let him spam that out. Likely going to go for raw damage after that, like a Shatter Glass or going into maybe even a Dragon's Eye. But now we have a rotation of Salamanders.
Yeah, the Salamanders, the North American Salamanders have collapsed upon Daniel. They'll find Daniel deep in the jungle. No, they're not in the jungle, right in the lane. They'll be able to get that kill. Look at Tinker doing work there. All right, 4v1, but Tinker was there.
I was about to say, I was like, I don't know if that was all Tinker.
Credit's due, Noms. Don't be holding back on your credit.
The team of the Salamanders as a whole.
Xenotech, the knockback into destruction. He'll even take a nap after because he's that badass. Oh, Xenotech, what a monster.
Yeah, great plays by Xeno there, and this might actually give the Salamanders a chance to capture this Goldwing. TSM know what's going on, though.
Did you say Goldwing? I like it.
I thought I said Ghostwing. Maybe I alliterated it for a second there. But they now have that buff. They now have that 25% damage boost to structures. So this is an opportunity now for the side of the Salamanders to start pushing a little bit back, maybe pick up an objective of their own.
I like to pretend that casters also get 25% boosted every time a Ghostwing is taken. In fact, Xenotech, another knockback. Daniel, out of position, but he's into the fray over the wall. He's just going to stand his ground here. Healing Flask is going to just wait to spend. His team has made the rotations. TSM with the intelligent plays. Oh my goodness, who could have seen that one coming?
Yeah, Hammy finishes it up with a fish food, stunning up Tinker. They pick up the kill there, and while we were just talking about the Salamanders maybe being able to make a push of their own, TSM answer right back. They don't care about that Ghostwing buff, and they're going to take an objective, maybe two, off the back of Salamanders picking up that dragon.
Wrecked makes his move on down, got his bada boom ready to go. He'll be holding that one. What's going to be the movement out of TSM is they wanted to make the pressure happen down in bottom. They make the rotation back towards mid, but what's the objective for TSM here in the next few minutes?
The objective for TSM is just to get picks wherever they can. Salamanders, they've been a little bit on the sloppy side with their position. They've pushed a little bit too far, especially when the whole team's not there. And the rotations and collapses from TSM have just been absolutely perfect. And they've maintained themselves an objective advantage. They're now extending their gold lead. It was 1,000 for quite a while. Now they're getting closer to 2 and 3. So we'll have to see if they can keep that up. Meanwhile, they sit 3 objectives down on the side of Salamanders, 1 down on the side of Team Solo Mid. So definitely see that the rotations and just the control of the map coming out of Team Solo Mid has kept them in the driver's seat.
I just want to point out that I really like Shaded Talent picking up the war treads here. It really is so good with what his team's trying to accomplish and what the Vanguard brings to the table with just protecting, slingshotting his team forward. But it's just this extra pair of boots for his team is so helpful. Not to mention the fact that Hammy can just throw a splash down at any point. Like, honestly, TSM, if they find themselves out of position, should be able to just retreat and jump back in very easily.
Yeah, definitely would be looking to be the case. Kaz does have to be a little bit careful. He took quite a lot of damage there.
Dude.
Here comes Mixi too.
One Corrupted Genius proc and it'll be at 100% health. Just watch.
I don't know if it's going to be quite that much.
Look at Kaz just single-handedly chunking the team down. That's going to be the root coming on through. And Mixi put into the dirt. Rex going to jump in. Bada woof. Well, I don't know. See, he just didn't hit anything. Bada whiff. More like Rex. It's okay. Just kind of trying to disperse TSM as they're piling up right here in mid, getting a lot of work done. Daniel's still in the jungle, Hammy up in top, and the Salamanders really just feeling that they can't do anything right now. Xenotech, in fact, really, he might go on down to Hammy here, forcing out the fountain out of Rex. Rex not happy to be burning a fountain like that.
No, absolutely not. And TSM they have a lot of crowd control, as we were mentioning earlier, that the side of the Salamanders have to worry about. Mixi showed his face for a split second, and it was a root, a stun, and then just a barrage coming in from Kaz that just absolutely ripped him to pieces. It was a pick for TSM. They were able to get a turret, or almost a turret there. Now they've got themselves a Ghost Wing, and this is where they're going to start to push objectives. They're getting substantially far ahead. We were just talking about them hitting the 2,000 lead mark. They're now almost 5,000 golden ahead just a minute later.
My goodness, really piling up for TSM. They're buffed up, they're ahead, really feeling themselves at this point right here, right now, and they just kind of rounding the Salamanders up here. You can see just kind of like sheepdogs herding the Salamanders into their base, choking them out of their jungle. They'll take any jungle that's available, they'll shove the waves forward. I guess the only benefit of this is that you can make sure that you're getting at least the majority of the gold onto your laners here, because it's always shoved in, easy to farm now. A little bada boom disrupting what TSM are trying to do, but Rex, he overstepped himself in front. Rex is probably going to go down. Rex getting taken out before the fight even really begins. Now Tinker tries to heal, winds up for the first judgment, can't connect, he goes down. The Xenotech can't peel for his ally. He did everything he could, not like it was his fault. Now Mixi wrecked and just slapped down like a little mosquito. There's Iraqi Zoro waiting to become a strong dragon, waiting to become an adult dragon, but I don't think it's going to happen in the next few minutes as TSM take down the first base turret here. They'll go back, maybe take down on Blacklaw, whatever they want.
Yeah, fortunately for Mixi, he was able to pick up the kill onto Daniel, maybe getting a little bit of additional gold in his pocket, which we know the Idris needs. But just as we mentioned earlier, Idris, mobile hero, when you take that mobility away from him, you're basically taking away his defense. He gets rooted up again by Chuck, the light ribbons connecting, getting that solid root. The team collapsed on him, and with no defense, this Idris just gets torn apart in a second.
How does he correct to that?
He's got to play a little bit more behind you. Ideally, in their situation, want either Rex or Xenotech to eat that light ribbons. If you commit yourself too far into the fight, trying to get the a couple more hits, then you're going to be very susceptible to Chuck switching over to light form, rooting you up, and then you're just going to get annihilated by Samuel at that point.
Daniel into the fray, onto the wraith, starts to spin. The gauntlet's going to connect. Tinker, he's going to get caught. That's 2 immediate kills for TSM. Wrecked with a bada boom, knocking him back as he falls down to his knees. dead upon arrival here. TSM now looking to apply a little bit more damage down in this bot lane. Potentially still have the Black Claw if they want to get out on the map and take that down. It looks like they'll play the patient game here. Go ahead and retreat back. We're 14 minutes in. It's 11-3 in favor of TSM, as they just have a dominant performance so far.
Yeah, and while TSM, they did face tank that turret and were able to bring it down, nobody cleared out the wave, so the captain wave down there was able to push into Team Solomid's turret, got a little bit gold back into the favor of the Salamanders, and it looks like it has helped a couple items get completed. Iraqi Zoro now sitting with his Spellfire, with his Clockwork, and with his Shatterglass. He's at a huge damage potential, and anybody on the front line for Team Solomid have to watch out for those Spitfires, because that damage will add up very, very quickly.
You know what I'd like to see? I'd love to see a throwback the other way. I'd love to see the Salamanders pull themselves back to the game. It doesn't feel like that's going to happen based just off of the momentum of the game and how everything's been playing out. One thing I do want to say is, like, you talked about maybe having Rekt absorb some of the light ribbons to start the fight off for his team, so make sure he's not getting caught out, so make sure you can have a little bit of an impact in these fights. But going back to like the last base fight, Rekt was out. He did disrupt the fight, started with the bada boom, but nobody was there with him.
Yeah, and that's all about team positioning and making an execution when your team is ready for that execution. We don't have any war treads on the side of the Salamanders yet, which makes it difficult for Rekt to help his team follow up on an engagement like that. Meanwhile, Black Claw was picked up by the side of Team Solo Mid. They've already got that top base turret destroyed. Armory is open. So what we may see is Team Solo Mid crack open this central base turret, push that armory, and if things are looking hairy, they might rotate up, take that top armory, and get out. And we've seen last game what that double buffed wave can do into a base, and you know, especially if we see teleport boots come out eventually.
Oh, look at Daniel with a no fear at all. Mixie, hello, goodbye. It's like they have an instant kill button. Mixie just getting erased. He has some damage output potential. We haven't seen it thus far. Rekt taken down. He'll throw that fountain out as his team just gets demolished inside their own base. Have mercy, please, cause he'll take two at the end, padding his stats. As TSM go up 16-3, 16 minutes to kill a minute for this squad right here. They'll take down the Vein Crystal and take this best one. That was a thing of beauty.
Yeah, absolutely. Salamanders, they let the Malign through. Chuck, big scoreline, 7-0-6. I'm going to have to say that might be the best Malign we've seen so far. So we'll have some competition in North America between Starting and Chuck on who's the best Malign.
So you're saying that there's no clear winner here? Denominate, is that what you're saying?
I'm saying it's close, but I'm saying Chuck didn't die at all.
Chuck did not die at all. Well, that's a true statement. Chuck dominating, looked really comfortable on his hero, and maybe a guy with a little more insight into what this team had planned up their sleeve. Flash X, break it down with Tasty Bacon.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Great game from TSM. Not quite the 12-minute game that we were, maybe expecting if their trend continued, but definitely still a dominant performance. And Chuck with that Malign, excellent play again, showing why every other team has been banning this hero.
Yeah, bold moves by Slimy Salamanders again. And, it still is the preseason. They are gaining valuable experience for how to play against Malign later on. But TSM, though, did a great job controlling the tempo, the momentum of the game, making sure the game is played on their terms, not letting this go to late game, which Slimy Salamanders is very comfortable with. This is one of the earlier team fights in the game. TSM Rekt trying to hit going with the bada boom, unfortunately caught out a little bit out of position after that. Gonna go down. Great route out of Malign by Chuck. Definitely a huge turning point for setting up for their Ghostwing and Black Claw clash captures to come in a little on.
Yeah, it felt like they played a little bit timid after that team, but they weren't really willing to try and commit to engaging on TSM. We had some reactions from the community after Malign got picked. Go ahead and read off some of these for us, Flash.
Slimy, please play better than yesterday. And oh my Malign. Yeah, I don't think Seesaw Puppies agreed with that one. Beaver Pleaser. Slimy Salamander still trying to prove that Malign is not broken, not working out for them. 7 Mood X7. Tasty Bacon is so sexy. I couldn't agree with you more. And No Mercy VG, new best Malign in the world. Confirmed, Chuck. Flawless game, 7-0-6. I like it a lot.
We'll have to maybe get Chuck and starting over into a 1v1 and see who is really the best Malign world. But there's finally 2 contenders at least in this one, but a great game again from TSM to wrap up their week and continue to stay undefeated. And again, part of this, TSM playstyle has been adapting so well to the 3.2 changes, and a lot of that is these early game fights around the Ghost Wing especially.
Yeah, Ghost Wing in particular, so important in update 3.2. 25% more damage to structures. That's huge. That really is huge. Blacklaw also spawning 3 minutes sooner at the 12-minute mark now. That means games are being closed out much quicker. And then, of course, the minions spawning earlier. So a little bit more in early game interactions. We actually saw some interesting rotations, some invades, some counter invades. I thought Slimy Salamanders actually adapted really well to TSM's early game invasion. I thought TSM had the better early game composition, so I thought that was really good out of them.
Yeah, most games are ending a bit quicker than, there's exceptions to the rule as always. But we are going to be getting ready for our 3rd and final game of the day, of the week, as it will be Rogue going head-to-head with Vision. This is another one of these matchups of 2 teams that really want to try and build up some momentum, really try and prove that they belong in the middle to top of the standings.
They need to get back on the wagon. We're past the halfway point now in the preseason. Rogue looking strong in some games, faltering in others. Here's some great team-wide execution. Evol looked really good on the Kestrel in this game, proving that he does have a hero pool deeper than just Celeste. I look forward to seeing him as a mid laner now on the Sovereign's Rise. He's always been one of the best captains in terms of mechanics. Those have definitely translated to the Sovereign's Rise. We got a tweet from Louis Vuitton's dad.
Yeah, Louis Vuitton and his dad telling him that your jewel is pretty average. I was Louis' dad, not particularly impressed with his jewel play, but I like the fact that he was bringing the jewel to the table. We'll see if maybe he brings it out again, tries to prove his dad that he can play better than average on a jewel or any other hero. I mean, his glaive was definitely above average when he brought that one out.
Yeah, his glaive was absolutely phenomenal. Definitely one of those off-meta picks that we're seeing quite a bit in North America. Some teams a little bit more successful than others. Definitely interested to see when Europe is going to start picking up that pick.
Yeah, it's one of these picks that, there's picks in both regions that kind of are exclusive to their sides. We've talked about both of them thus far today, but going into this matchup, I mean, what are we really going to be focusing on as far as picks? Are we expecting to see some of these more unconventional picks that are only getting grabbed once or twice? Because Rogue, they've done it pretty frequently now. It's Saw, Jewel, they were the first ones to run the glaive, things like that.
North America has always been very comfortable in terms of how deep their hero pools are, so that when there is a situation where there's one hero that particularly counters another hero very well, we are at an increased likelihood to see something like that. It all just comes down to the draft.
Yeah, we've also been seeing a lot of different, roster shakeups, different players having to fill in. Sometimes some emergency substitutes coming through. Yesterday for Vision, DZ, his Vainglory professional debut, and decided, as the coach, he made the decision to bench himself for the rest of the season. So, DZ, again, having to fill in, again, emergency substitute, always great when you at least are able to make that substitute so you don't have to forfeit a game, but did his best. Unfortunately, wasn't able to get him help get his team a victory.
I mean, hats off to him. That was a huge mountain for them to climb against TSM. The Vision Gaming team still looking to try to find their momentum, figure out exactly where they want to go with things. But yeah, that's tough for any new player, especially in a competitive format, to try and have to go up against. Yeah,
I mean, especially when you're not expecting to at the start of the season. When you're the coach, you're not sitting there, oh yeah, I'll be ready to go just in case we need me to fill in. Like, I can totally. That's not what you expect as a coach, but we'll be finding out what the hero selections are going to be. Hopefully, DZ won't have to fill in for his team today. Hopefully, he's got players that he's more comfortable having in there. Right off the bat, they're going to go ahead and ban away the Kestrel.
Yeah, I'm sure they did their homework, saw that Evol was very comfortable on this Kestrel pick yesterday. Maleen being banned as well, no surprise there. Slimy Salamanders, the only team in the world bold enough or dumb enough to let her go through. Definitely going to be re-looking at that one for sure. Vision Gaming, quick to grab up the Celeste. Rogue answers just as quickly with the Sam and the Idris.
Yeah, very quick picks for both of these teams, knowing what they want to get out of this draft. Tony going to come right away as well for Vision. So again, both teams knowing what they want and executing on it immediately as far as the draft is concerned.
I definitely think that Rogue is in a very good spot here because both Lyra and Churnwalker are still on the board. Rogue's gonna get one of them. That's definitely a hero that their captain is very proficient on. Vision Gaming can only block one of them, so Rogue is not gonna be at that captain disadvantage that you've seen a lot of teams try and play off of and force the other team into going for these kind of second tier heroes.
And I'm actually really curious to see if Evol's gonna be playing either that Samuel or the Idris. You know, I've gotten a chance to chat with him a little bit. He said he's definitely comfortable with more heroes. It looks like the Scarf is actually gonna be his selection for this go round, but you know, he said the reason he was just playing this less is because they just felt like it was what would work best for their team and what they wanted to try and execute in that game, and it was available, so you might as well grab it. But obviously Vision Gaming wanting to try and push his hero pool a little further, again, wanting to make him prove that he's comfortable with additional heroes. He's gonna have to step up to the plate here.
Kroll and Adagio being picked up by the side of Vision Gaming, that is actually really good stuff because Rogue, they have no front line right now. It is 3 backline squishy mages. If they play it that way, we might be a weapon power Idris. We'll see. I think that because they have the Scarf and the Samuel, it's a little more likely that we see it here in this game. They're actually going to bypass the Churnwalker, though, and go for the Arden. Yeah,
a little bit surprising. A lot of teams have really liked Churnwalker, but at the same time, you know, Churnwalker, it takes a little while for him to get set up in a team fight. If you have someone diving onto your carries, Churnwalker is not going to be able to save them immediately, whereas Arden can provide that immediate saving grace. So I think the pick actually makes a lot of sense here just because of what they have and what their opponents have already drafted. So the Arden pick, very strong, very versatile hero. Now, what are they going to round out their composition with? Again, still kind of expect those bruisers, but they ban away the Rona, which is what I would have expected them to maybe look for in their final selection.
I think that they realize that Vision Gaming doesn't really have their bot laner at this point in time unless they go for something like a weapon power Adagio, so they didn't want to have to deal with that in the front line, jumping onto their back line squishy heroes. Vision Gaming gonna pick up that Vox, though. That's a great pick. Very mobile, allow him to dash out of whether it's the Chakrams or the Malice and Verdicts. He can stay on his feet, making sure he's dodging, and even the Spitfires coming out of Scarf as well. He can constantly maneuver around these team fights, drop a big silence, and then commit to an engagement alongside Kroll and Tony.
The final pick now for Rogue. On the clock, they're gonna go for the Glaive again. When teams don't have the Rona or the Kroll available and they need that big bruiser, Glaive tends to be where these North American teams are looking. And again, we've seen Louis Vuitton have a phenomenal Glaive performance earlier in the preseason. Obviously, he'd like to have a repeat of that.
Definitely. We're definitely hoping that he doesn't have another repeat average performance. It needs to be above average. He needs to make sure that he is a core component of this Rogue roster, going in at the right times when the call is made to engage and just pulling someone out of position with the afterburn immediately.
Yeah, and as much as we're going to be focusing on Louis Vuitton's Glaive, the player to watch, though, I think is going to be Evol coming into this one. We were wondering, you know, is he going to be able to do more than just the Celeste? He brought out the Kestrel yesterday, played phenomenally with it. It got banned away from him today, so now he's on to yet another new hero. We'll get to see just what else he can bring to this mid lane. He is really kind of the core, the central focus of this Rogue squad, and if he's able to perform well, the rest of his teammates around him generally match.
Absolutely. On the flip side of things for Vision Gaming, Lightning T has looked absolutely stellar when he's on his comfortable heroes. In 3 versus 3, he was very well known for his Sky. We're seeing a lot more Celeste and mages in the backline, and when he has his full roster, when he has the teammates he's used to playing against, when PvP Warrior is on there as well, he's looked very good, a commanding victory over Hammers right there, doing a ton of damage on the Celeste. Definitely needs to make sure he steps up his game today against Rogue if they're going to be successful.
Yeah, and this is one of these guys you expect greatness out of him. He has always been such a stellar standout player that he's going to really, like you said, have to live up to that reputation if Vision is going to turn this thing around and start picking up victories on Sovereign's Rise. And that's what we're going to be looking to see. Which of these two teams is going to start to get themselves back on track? Which one of them is going to start climbing those standings?
Yeah, they both want to make sure with the last game of Week 3 here that they are making a statement before they start preparing for the Week 4. Going to be interesting to see how the things play out given this draft.
And with the draft, you see it there on your screen. Once again, a very stark contrast in the draft. A lot of dive and survivability over on the side of Vision, whereas Rogue is all about that backline heavy damage once they're able to get online. The question is, will they be able to get to that point? Because if you fall behind with a composition like the one that Rogue has, it becomes extremely difficult to make any sort of impact.
Definitely. There's been a lot of exclusive picks here in North America so far. Rogue doing it once again, picking up that glaive that has looked absolutely phenomenal. Still sitting at a 50% win rate. Gwen above 50% as well, and some other great picks. Vision actually taking Jewel off the table as well, which I thought was a very interesting ban.
Yeah, well, obviously, again, just targeting the players on the side of Rogue, shaking things that maybe they're not comfortable playing against. And these are, once again, the North American exclusive Hero picks. That just means these are the picks that North America has played that Europe has not. And obviously, the wins and the number of picks, that's all coming into this week. A lot of these numbers have obviously changed. Maleen, 2-2 now. The glaive has been picked in Europe earlier today and was picked in North America earlier today as well. So obviously, there's some of these differences are shrinking as we go on, and players and teams start to kind of experiment a little bit more with the heroes that are available to them.
Absolutely. I know that both these teams, they need to get back on track. They need to make sure that they have decisive and concise shot calling, executing as a team. The macro play and the team play is so much higher now on the Sovereign's Rise compared to the Halcyon Fold. If your team is not playing as a cohesive unit, it is very easy to punish. The split second someone gets caught out of position, they're punished for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so as we wait for the players to get themselves ready to get on the Sovereign's Rise, just a reminder, you can get involved with us on social media. You can check out our Instagram account at Vainglory Esport. Get involved there. Get involved on Twitter, or you can also go ahead and get yourself involved just in the Twitch chat. We like to see the community feedback. We like to showcase some of what you guys have, and maybe you too can let it be known that you think Flash X is sexy.
I appreciate the compliment very much. But yeah, no, seriously, community engagement going to be taken to a whole new level as we transition into 5v5. You guys have an opportunity to get your fan art on the page, your Twitch chat, post things on Instagram, tag #VPL. There's a lot of opportunities for you guys to get involved there. Very excited with the new direction that things are going.
Yeah, the fan art is actually one of my favorite things to see. Like, just mostly because I'm awful at art, so like seeing what some of these some of the community members are able to create has been absolutely phenomenal. And so we're going to take another look at some of this Maleen fan art that you guys have created. And once again, a big shout out to those of you that went through not just the time and the effort, but just the work and the practice to be able to make these happen. It looks absolutely incredible. So once more, a huge shout out to Kohai-kun, Skyfu, and Elesner26 for their phenomenal work.
Definitely great stuff. Celeste, it looks like, might be sneaking into the Maleen fan art as well. That's all right, though. It's still phenomenal work regardless, and definitely very appreciative of everyone in the community who always comes out and participates. There's so many amazingly talented artists in the community, and definitely looking forward, as Vainglory grows as a game, to seeing the fan art grow as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the community following. So much love to everyone out there. Stay involved. Continue to just be involved with the community, be involved with each other, and hopefully we'll be able to get this game underway very shortly. Once again, we're just waiting for the players to get everything kind of sorted out on their ends so that we make sure we have a nice, fair, and even matchup to go for our final game of the day. And so once again, I'm just going to break down this draft a little bit more. And one of the things I want to focus on here is actually the bans that you come through. We talked about the Jewel being a bit of a surprise, the Kestrel kind of being a target ban. When we're drafting in 5v5, obviously a lot of these players have been playing for a long time now and have deeper hero pools. How difficult is it, or how likely is it, if it's the reverse, for a team to just sit there and say, okay, we want to just target ban one specific player?
It's definitely a lot more challenging in 5v5 because there's now 3 pick phases. If you are not being very careful about isolating a lot of these picks very early on, especially if they're meta picks, it's hard to do. But if you can pick out a situation where a hero likes to play things a little more off meta, it definitely makes it more challenging.
All right, well, the players are now ready. I'm sure the casters are ready as well. Denominate and Humanist, take it away.
We're actually not ready, Bacon. Let's go back to the desk. Just kidding. Don't do it, production! We are in the game. I'm ready. I'm here with Nom Noms himself. We got Vision Gaming going up against Rogue. This is going to be a spicy little best of one. I hope you guys are ready.
Yeah, definitely will. And we do have Marto stepping in for Jason on the side of Rogue. A little bit of an engage starting there early and vulnerable on the Kroll with the beautiful Samurai Kroll skin, picking off a bit of damage on Sibs, who's going to be looking to play the Jungle Idris this game.
Jungle Idris coming out of Sibs. How does that... It feels like he's going to get bullied out of the jungle by this Kroll. If Kroll knows where he is, if they're in the same vicinity at all, that Kroll should be dumping on him early.
Definitely seems like it would be the case. However, the Idris will get his the heroic perk, the Divergent Paths, online a little bit sooner because he won't have to build into the Book of Eulogies early on. He'll also have some freedom to roam into the lanes and try to get some ganks and accumulate some additional gold. That way, he'll get some ambient while he's in those lanes as well. So there's a lot of potential actually for a Jungle Idris. We've seen quite a few players pick that up and do exceptionally well on it actually. So excited to see what Sibs can do here on the side of Rogue.
I'm excited to see what he can do as well. For right now, it's going to be Sibs and Louis Vuitton making a little rotation through the jungle. Evil getting lit up in mid here. He's going to be stunned up and taken on down. Nice kill going the way of Vision to start things off here.
Yeah, absolutely. Good play from Lightning T there. Once upon a time, one of my favorite laners. Glad to see him coming back into the lane here on this Celeste. Celeste also one of his signature heroes from back in the day, so expect some big things out of this guy today. But Louis Vuitton on the side of Rogue, we've seen him with some absolutely outstanding performances on this Glaive. He's going to be in the top lane and going to be matching up against the Adagio Neon Fire. So we'll have to see if Glaive can capitalize on any of those ganks. Adagio doesn't have any way to escape those ganks just due to his lack of mobility. So a lot of potential for Glaive to set things up, but we have to see these rotations and effective rotations come out of Sibs to do so.
Well, speaking of rotations, Marto, the North American god himself, making a rotation, taking a whole bunch of damage there. Sibs, little shock from out of the brush, Dead Man's Rush on forward and vulnerable. He's got to be careful making that forward movement like that when he has no way out himself. In fact, Sibs is going to go ahead and chase him down. Sibs has a weapon buff. Chakram's going to connect. Basic attacks start to come on through. The healing flask popped. Invulnerable continues to run. Look at him run. Who can run like Invulnerable can? A jump forward and shot step, but Sibs is stunned up. Dude, did you play yourself? No, Marto's there. I'll give him a little Vanguard. I like the trade back and forth here. Pool jumps back in. Pool, what are you doing? That's not where you wanted to go. But it's all calculated. Evo not gonna connect on that Spitfire, potentially dodged out, potentially a miss. We'll never really know unless we get to interview these players someday, Denominate.
Yeah, it's probably just a little bit of a miss there. It happens, you know, skill shots, you can't land every single one. I do think Invulnerable used the Spectral Smite a little bit too soon when he engaged onto Sibs. He didn't get the maximum amount of healing, nor did he get the maximum amount of damage. And we know Kroll gets lifesteal based on each one of those stacks. So I think there was some potential for them to pick up that return kill onto Sibs, who has his 5 crystal bits. He has the Divergent Path unlocked, and he's now going to have those ranged attacks. Looking at the side of Rogue, they are going very crystal heavy with Evol, Jesus, and Evol. So, or Evol, Jesus, and Sibs. So I'd expect to see some shield come out early. Yes, I mean, Evol's just so good. I had to say him twice.
Yeah, Evil, and Evil. Yeah, I think he'd do pretty well there. Now, Pool looking to teleport out. It's going to be canceled up by Marto as he drops down towards the bottom lane. Jesus having a lot of pressure down here. Sibs even backing him up as well. Maybe getting him into that position where he can just port back or make some rotation somewhere else. He doesn't actually need to port, so that was a stupid statement, but he does need to have a little pressure relieved.
Yeah, a little bit. When you're up against PvP Warrior on Vox in the lane, you definitely want as much help from your team as you can, because we've seen PvP Warrior in the past on this hero basically 1v5 a couple fights, so we'll have to see how he pulls it together this one. He's got a level advantage over Jesus right now, so that is going to be important as this game moves on. Samuel's Oblivion is going to come online a little bit after the wait for it, and that silence coming out of Vox can be absolutely devastating to a team. You know, if you line it up correctly and timely enough, you can silence the whole enemy team.
It can feel really powerful. It can also feel just like it's useless at times, but we'll see how that's going to play out.
It's never useless. You can always at least still apply resonance with it.
I mean, not if you throw it behind you.
Well, I mean, that's unfortunate, but you're correct.
Hopefully I didn't curse him. Look at a two-man silence to nominate the Prophet, calling it. They couldn't do anything with that silence coming on through. Now pull, look for the trash talk. He's gonna go ahead and pull them back. Look at, he pulls him on back. He's memeing his own name. Jesus can do nothing to save his ally here as Marto gets put on down, and very clean rotations coming out of Vision Gaming.
Yeah, absolutely. Now PvP Warrior, he is looking to get a little bit of damage onto this turret. Jesus does not have the Oblivion yet, but he's got some Malice and Verdicts onto the heels of PvP Warrior. Don't think a kill's gonna come of it, but we'll have to see.
Dude, PvP will never die to a Samuel, but Ghost Swing, get him! Ghost Swing almost took him out. That was pretty funny. That would have been actually hilarious.
It would have been pretty awesome for Jesus there if Ghostwing would have finished off that kill, as the Samuel would have been the one to pick that one up. But now he's just gonna have to return to farming. See the Samurai coming down though.
Lightning D taking a lot of damage. He does find the stun onto Marto, the Helio as well. The Vanguard should keep him alive. I'd love to see a hero that can actually control the dragons. That's what I'm talking about. Next up, Neon Fire, the self buff into the first. Oh, get a kill! He's gonna find a stun on Sibs as well. Evo would have. Oh man, I want to cuss right now. He would have got wrecked as well. Neon Fire, dude, I'm loving this Adagio early on here, making it happen, man.
Yeah, Adagio can apply a lot of pressure thanks to the Stormcrown. He's able to effectively farm his wave, but you cannot disregard the fact that if he gets that self-heal and that damage buff, he will absolutely shred targets apart, even without any crystal power to back it up. So very effective early game build. In the later stages, he's not going to be very damage heavy, but he will be very tanky, almost like a second support. And all of that bonus health that Adagio builds over the course of this game will also improve the healing on his Gift of Fire. So we will have to see what the Adagio is able to do to ideally keep his carries alive. Couple ults burned there that were unnecessary for that kill onto Samuel, but
completely necessary.
I mean, it secured them this turret, so in the end, that Solar Storm...
That Jesus is never going to mess around again, because he remembers his corpse falling to the ground and then 2 ultimates flying over the top of him, so he's like, I actually can't do anything anymore, team.
Yeah, it definitely feels like the case as Vision Gaming, they're just pushing into the armory, and now they need to get away from Jesus here.
Do they?
Ideally.
He got level 8 Lightning D, the Celeste. He's also got the Crystal buff. He's in a good place right now. They got the Ghost Wing buff as well. These guys are incredibly strong, and I think it's a little deceptive also having Neon Fire on their team, because he can just drop a heal onto his team as well. They're pretty tanky.
Yeah, again, with the additional bonus health, Neon Fire actually can heal quite a bit, but with Vision Gaming being so close to the base of Rogue there, it would have been too risky for them to push a little bit too far forward. They were low on health and had primarily squishy target there on the front line, that Celeste. They would have had to be careful about the afterburn coming out of Glaive in the base. It would have been only a short distance for Glaive to run.
Yeah, but right now, they are completely on the back foot. That's going to be the T1 turret going down. Evil taking a lot of damage as well. Now, it's actually an aggressive move forward. Now, PvP Warrior, you look, he's got his breaking point. Now, this is the time where PvP Warrior starts to dumpster fools. Sib's able to juke a little bit of damage. Marto, you're in a bad position as well. Oblivion's going to come out, won't connect. The Fountain's going to keep Vision fighting alive. They're going to find us one stun with that verse coming out. Neon Fire, keeping his teammates alive. Have they lost anybody? Pole stays alive as well. That perk keeping him alive. Unbelievable. Evo drops from the base. PvP, I don't know what he's doing. Dancing around the wall. You deserve it, bud. Do the Macarena for all I care. Vision Gaming putting on a performance here.
Yeah, PvP was pretty close to picking up that kill onto Jesus, just wasn't able to find that last hit, and now here comes Invitational.
There's the Glaive you warned us about, Denominate, so fear.
Not a huge impact from the glaive there, but Vision Gaming respect his potential and are trying to get out. Oh, Louis Vuitton picks up the kill on the PvP, who is recalling taking a sip of water during he was safe.
It's mobile gaming, bro. Yeah, you can drink water and you can go to the bathroom. You can do whatever you want. You can't port and take your hands off of your device.
And it looked to be the case. He saw the glaive coming, the first hit came, and there was no movement, and then it was just all glaive from there.
Well, I guess if the people stand still, there's easy comebacks on the table here for the side of Rogue. Now, you know, kind of joking around a little bit. Rogue, they're on the back foot. They have the tools to turn this around, to put this together, but it's definitely a tough position to be in right now. As 5, Rogue kind of flexing their positioning down in this bottom lane. They might be looking for a turret, but Ghost Swing as well on the table. But not before Vision Gaming starts to rotate around the backside. They'll get the turret, but Invulnerable into position. Look for the Kroll to get onto key targets. He's on to Jesus. Correct me if I'm wrong. Burst comes on a 3-man stun. Adagio, what a hero. Solar Storm's gonna clip Louis Vuitton. They've taken 3 down. Glaive has an afterburn coming up in 1 second. Get it. Oh, he got it just the tip right there. Jesus continues to drift back in that dark. Invulnerable. Shadows empower him as he'll chase on forward. He'll be able to take that glaive on down, and Jesus is just a matter of time before you go down 2, bud. In fact, 1 second before his allies respawn. That's gonna be the ace. Vision Gaming in their base. Feeling good, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Vision playing out of their minds right now. PvP Warrior, level 9 here on this Vox, is gonna have to dash over the wall here.
You got this.
Got this. So, Evol, unfortunately for the side of Rogue, is that hyper carry that they need, and he's sitting way behind in CS right now. Lightning T on the Celeste in the mid lane, 72, only 49 for Evol. He has the Spellfire complete, but has been struggling to get into that second tier 3 item, which is likely going to be either a Shatterglass or a Dragon's Eye, followed by a Clockwork. Have to see if they're able to turn things around. They need to get this dragon fed if they want to have a chance in this game.
I just love the way Vision's playing this game. Like, strategically, their draft makes a lot of sense, but the way they're actually executing on it is really a thing of beauty. The Celeste is pumping out so much damage right now. It's a huge threat. You have to avoid the damage coming out there. In fact, Solar Storm just, look at 60%, 75% of Evil's health, more than 80%, 90% of his health with 1 Solar Storm. I mean, do we even need to analyze this?
Well, Black Claw is now on the rise. I don't know if there's a whole lot of analysis to go into there. Celeste ultimate, 2 levels ahead, can basically one-shot the Scarf. 1 follow-up basic attack or Heliogenesis will definitely lock that out. But with that bottom armory destroyed and the central part of this base crippled, I definitely think Vision Gaming are looking for the win in this one.
Vision Gaming moving on forward here. Going to be the first, or the mid turret going down. Black Claw incredibly healthy. Nice little chunk of damage comes out as the turret explodes here. Marto pulls the trigger on the gauntlet. Pool able to escape right out of there. He'll get the taunt, pulling the Arden back. Oh my goodness, Rogue getting melted. They're going to try and retreat back, maybe heal up. Solar Storm doesn't connect on this one, but they don't even need it. Neon Fire, he's going to wind up for the verts. He'll take Marto on down with that beautiful judgment call. Jesus can only watch as his base is torn apart. Fate Crystal down. Rogue have fallen. Vision Gaming looking really strong here.
Yeah, beginning of this game, I thought Rogue were going to be the ones to come out on top. We've seen massive performances from Evil on the Celeste and the Kestrel. Unfortunately, this time around, it doesn't appear the Scarf worked out very well for them. Just got a little bit too far behind. Lightning T played out of his mind on this Celeste. And I think that wraps it up for this weekend for us humanists.
Yeah, that was a quick wrap up of the weekend. 13 minutes, 44 seconds, and 18-2. What a dominant performance. But that's it from us casters. To break it down, we'll go ahead and throw it back over to the analyst desk.
You know, we're not ready. Just kidding, of course. But thank you very much, Humanist and Denomine, for a phenomenal broadcast. And what a great game from Vision. This was what Vision was envisioning when they put together this roster, and coming off of how they looked at the end of last year in 3v3, now into 5v5. If they can continue to perform at this level, easily can get themselves into, at the very least, the middle of the standings, top 3 perhaps even, if they perform at this level.
Such a night and day difference when you have your full roster compared to having a coach having to step in and play. That's definitely something that Vision needs to repeat. Those players need to make sure that they're showing up, putting in a lot of work. This is a quick highlight from Vision in this previous game. They group so well when they're together. Even when Rogue is taking that objective, Vision knew exactly how to collapse and punish them for it. Neon Fire, beautiful verse of Judgment. That was a huge tipping point for the game. They're already up 12-2. They go on from this, make it very easy to take down the Armory once they get inside of that base. Jesus doing what he can to try and make miracles happen, but not happening here today.
Yeah, and so Vision walks away with the victory. Rogue still going to be looking to figure things out. They were playing with a substitute today, Marto, getting back onto professional Vainglory play. Hopefully he continues to focus and get into Vainglory competitive play. I'd love to see him back. I know he took a long break off. One of the original North American champions. Would love to see Marto back on a team full time, but unfortunately not able to get the victory here.
Yeah, and it's hard as a substitute stepping onto any roster that you really don't have as much experience playing with. It's hard. So it definitely showed when he was stepped in for Rogue there that they just weren't as comfortable. They weren't on the same page when they're playing with JFMAM. But yeah, it's definitely Rogue can only go up from here. Yeah,
and with that defeat, obviously Rogue going to be sitting down near the bottom of the standings. Let's take a look at the results from the entire day. We had Vision over Rogue, TSM taking down Slimy Salamanders, and Tribe over Tilt Rehab. Whereas over in Europe, it was the redemption day for Europe, the complete opposite of our first day of the preseason, with Queso over Clash, Wolves over Equinox, and Rising Lotus taking down Salty Potatoes. Of course, the big one there was Team Queso taking down Clash. They were definitely excited about getting that victory. Definitely one of the more previewed matchups. The moment of the day, of course, was I think just how dominant Team Queso was taking over Clash.
For disowned, just been able to save him. Carl potentially not going to get saved here as Hundor takes his life. That armory is melting, and Team Queso are onto the Vein Crystal at just 12 minutes. 12 minutes into the game. Black Claw hasn't even spawned, and Queso will find the revenge over Clash.
Yeah, that's the revenge.
Team Queso, it's over. We defeat Clash in a clean first match, completing the revenge of the first week of the VPL preseason invitational. They have got to be a happy little cheese family.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely no stinky cheese there. It's all premium quality, as they are very likely going to be taking over as that top spot in those power rankings. Next up, we have our It's Lit stat of the day. 2,093. You might be wondering, what could possibly be 2,093? That is the number of seconds in our now longest game we have had in the preseason invitational. 34 minutes and 53 seconds coming out of Europe. So that's definitely a little bit of a contrast to what we have seen from a lot of other teams, but it was a fantastic slate of matches.
Throwback to the Halcyon Fold. Europe with the longer style series of games. A little more passive play, but it was a lot of back and forth, unfortunately. Player disconnect, not much that they can do about that, but yeah, it's been a great weekend.
And the next week is going to be a great weekend as well, as we will have Rising Lotus against Team Queso, Salty Potatoes and Equinox Esports, and Wolves Esports versus Clash. Whereas over in North America, Nova Esports and Tribe, Hammers Esports versus Tilt Rehab, and Rogue versus TSM. Should be yet another great weekend of games.
Definitely looking forward to those as we get ready to move into week 4 of the Vainglory preseason invitational. A lot of teams finding their footings now. I wouldn't be surprised if there are a few last-minute changes before teams start moving into the regular season, but these teams are now building the synergy, gaining the understanding that they need to be successful on the Sovereign Tries.
And before we say goodbye, I need to say congratulations to Renee Dre, the winner of the final Maleen Unlocked unlock for this weekend. Remember, if you weren't lucky enough to be one of the winners chosen, head on into the game, go into the store, and get yourself Malene, because she is a lot of fun. 2-0 in professional play. Maybe she can improve your game as well. But until next weekend, we're going to say goodnight.